Greetings, Ashen, the comic book hunter, here for another comic book hunt. Yes, I'm returning with a live stream, and just want to say hello to anyone that stops by today or this evening, whatever time it is for you. It has been a little bit of a break I've been on recently. It was a hectic week, and honestly, there wasn't very many comic books for me to look at. So I went ahead and skipped last week. Sorry about that. I do intend to keep going. And so if anyone is new here, let me tell you a little bit about the comic book hunt. What I do here is I review comics from the previous week that I purchased. And then the second portion, I give you suggestions for what you might want to pick up in the next week on New Comic Book Day. Thirdly, I, at least this week, am going to be showing you a few Blu-rays and DVDs type thing. Some stuff I picked up, maybe give you a little bit of a review on those, let you know about them, why I picked them up and whatnot. And the final section, I will be telling you about crowdfunded indie comics. So if you're interested in getting out of the mainstream and you want to know about crowdfunded indie comics, that last portion is just for you. And with how rough things are, I would highly recommend that you stick around for that last portion. All right. So anyway, let us get started. What is the first comic book on the docket? This was the only comic book I picked up last week. So are you ready for it? 'Cause here it comes. Aggretsuko! Yes, Aggretsuko number 3. I've been a big proponent of this series so far. I do love the animated series that is on Netflix, so check that out if you haven't. First two issues of this were pretty entertaining and surprisingly in depth. And then we get to issue number 3. So, what can I say about issue number 3? I was disappointed by it, and I am sorry if I recommended this one to you, especially if you didn't pick up any of the other issues, because this was not a good place to start. There are some good parts to this. Let me just go into the image I have for you. There's some good parts to this one, and as you can see here, this is Goofy. This is Aggretsuko, and this is a sort of a transfer worker who comes over from a different country and acts all preppy and stuff like that. Her name is Karen, and she just wants to fix all the problems, right? But the issue I have with this issue is that, well, they forget a lot about a lot of character growth, and it just seems like they're kind of pushing a bit of agenda, and they're doing that over the story, and that's where I have an issue. I don't care if you've got something you want to slip in and whatever, that's fine, but when you start actively forgetting about character growth and characterizing people as just overtly bad, even though things have shown that they aren't necessarily, then that's when I kind of get mad. So I am going to be picking up issue number 4 of this, but I gotta say this one was a bit of a disappointment, and if the next one is a disappointment as well, if they just can't put a good story together again, well, I'm gonna stop, because I'm not here for nonsense. I'm here for Aggretsuko singing heavy metal and having some interesting adventures as an adult in the workplace. So yeah, as goofy as that may sound, I do quite enjoy her sort of take on life. All right. All right, so what do we have next? Once again, this week now, today, New Comic Book Day, yes. What do we have? Just one issue, so here we go. Batman, The Adventures Continue. Oh man, I was happy to see this one because I did enjoy the animated series. I did like what they did with that. I've heard kind of mixed reviews about these. I believe they released digitally first, and now I'm getting the physical copy, and I'm just now reviewing this. I kind of wanted to stay in the dark about it until I got my copy of this. So what can I say about it? there are elements of it that are very true to the original series. I feel that this first issue had a little bit too much talking, but I do think that there's promise. The art isn't nearly as good as the animated series. I don't know why the art can't be better in a comic book than an animated series that takes so much more effort to do. Um, but I didn't hate it, and I'm going to be picking up the next issue. I was going to say episode just because I'm used to being animated and all. I think it has potential though, so I will check it out. Some of the art in here does have that striking and distinct Batman the Animated Series kind of look to it, so I really appreciated that. I was kind of surprised to see Lex Luthor running around in Gotham, but it just adds to the intrigue, and I am looking forward to that. This is some of the art. This is some of the better art. So you're looking at this here, and this is some of the better art. It's not that great, but for an interesting take on this world, I am willing to kind of deal with a bit less. Hopefully, the artist gets their footing in the issues that are to come. All right, well, that is that for comic books. The new comic books are out of the way, and now we have some comic books coming up. So, what titles shall we see? First up, we have Batman. Well, not Batman. What am I talking about? This is Dark Knight's Metal Death Metal. Oh my god, do you think they could have added more to that? Yes, Dark Knight's Metal Death Metal, the sequel to Dark Knight's Metal. And it looks really weird, but kind of fun. I enjoyed the other series. I know a lot of people did not like it because it was very kind of spastic, but that is just Scott Snyder. That's what he is. That's what he does. And you know what you're gonna say. You wouldn't want to read his comic books all the time, not in my opinion anyway. But every now and again, when you put him on something wacky like this, I'm perfectly fine with just sitting back and taking in the madness. This is the cover B you're looking here, and this is the one I will be picking up. So if you are interested in seeing more Dark Knight's Metal, and then, sort of in the death metal genre for this one, definitely go ahead and check this out. It will be a wild ride for sure. Next up, we have The Grieveling. Yes, this is a horror comic book, and as you know, a lot of you know that watch me, I love me some horror. And this is sort of like The Crow. A young woman is murdered, and she comes back from the grave to seek revenge. I don't know exactly how great this is going to be, but I do like the writer, so I do have high hopes for this. And, I'll give you a review. You might want to check this out yourself. I don't know many comic shops that would get a title like this, but hopefully mine will. I think they will. I got to talk to him about it tomorrow. If not, maybe they can order it for me, because I didn't actually know about this until today, but it looks pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and check it out. Then we have The Question. Yes, the Black Label Question series. The Many Deaths of Vic Sage, or The Deaths of Vic Sage, something like that. There's no title on here, but you get the idea. Anyway, I believe we are moving on to issue number 3 now. And this has been a really, really good series. If you have not dipped into it, go and pick it up. They're limiting over on Midtown Comics how many of these can be picked up, so this must be a wildly popular series. If we are on issue 3 and people are like Midtown are limiting how many you can pick up, all I know is I've been picking them up all along. I've been enjoying it all along, and I really have nothing else to say about that. Go check it out if you haven't. Okay, well, that is that for new comic books. Now, this portion is probably the least interesting portion. I'm just going to talk to you about a few things, and it will be quick, I promise. First thing I'm going to talk to you about Cure. Yes, Cure is a Japanese horror film, and it is one of the rare ones that people seem to adore, and I have not gotten a chance to see yet. So maybe you will see a review of this coming up. I'm not sure, but it looks pretty darn awesome. So go check out the. Why am I saying darn? Damn! This is an adult channel here. I'm a big boy. But yeah, this looks pretty cool. It looks like it's going to be some good Japanese horror. There has been kind of a slump with Japanese horror for a while where they rely on tropes, and not a lot of good stuff has been coming out. But Cure actually looks like it might be the cure for lame Japanese horror. All right. Next up, I got another foreign film. This is Acacia Motel. Stay far away from Acacia Motel. You don't want to go into Acacia Motel. You will not come out with your sanity intact. Now, this movie was, it had a good premise, had good creature effects, it had a good location. It sucked because the director had no idea what they were doing. Go ahead and open this up for you. And see, it's a very bare bones release. This movie has such a low rating when you go check it out, and there's a reason for that. It has so much promise. The beginning of it is actually quite fantastic, and then you get into the movie, and the director has no idea what they're doing. Character motivations change on a whim. Everything's jumbled. Nobody matters. They don't build any characters. Everything is just a mess, and then the movie ends. So if you want to watch it out of morbid curiosity, there is a bed that kills people in this movie, and there are some interesting creatures that come out from this scenario. But is it worth it? Not really. It's a big waste of time, in my opinion. So we are going to go on to the next title that I picked up. I got this really cool Candyman box. Oh, look at how beautiful that is, huh? Isn't that awesome? Candyman is the man. If you have not seen this movie, definitely go check out Candyman. I bought this box specifically because of how it looks. It's a Zavvi exclusive steel box, and just look at that art. It's incredible. The problem I have with this is that not only the fact that it is not for American Blu-rays players or anything like that, but it only has the rated R version. And that's kind of an issue for me because I always wanted to watch the unrated version. So to get the unrated version, I just picked up this other one here. Yes. And I watched it, and let me tell you, get the unrated version. It is incredible. It is almost just like the theatrical release, almost just like it, but the scenes are the same. But you can tell that they did like reshoots for the one over here, and these are the original shoots with a lot more boobage and blood and violence and fun stuff like that. Definitely more fun. So if you have not watched Candyman, your first experience with it, don't watch the theatrical cut. Just go ahead and get the unrated cut. This one was cheap. This was like $12 or something, and you get the unrated and the rated cut both in here. All kinds of extras, anything you could possibly want. And then maybe if you're a dork like me and collect stuff like steel boxes, you could pick this bad boy up. All right, so our final section here, we are going to go into talking about indie comics that are crowdfunding that you can pick up. So what do we have on the docket? Saving the World, number 2. And don't worry, if you haven't picked up number 1, you can get that in here. Number 1, number 2. It's priced pretty darn well, especially for a crowdfunded book. Go ahead and check this out. Saving the World is kind of like a fun, it's kind of a cartoony drawn thing. But let me tell you, this is a fun story, and I enjoy the characters, and I enjoy how the story goes, and how it's like flirty, and how they have some good action in here. There's sort of an exploitation element to this, with how the main character's clothes keep getting ripped off, but it's all in good humor, and I definitely enjoyed this from beginning to end. Highly recommended. Go ahead and check out number 1 and number 2 if you missed the first campaign, for sure. And if you did get the first campaign, Please pick up the second, please. Next up, we have Brand, Wave the Gun. Yes, the sequel to Brand is here, and it looks to be pretty badass. You see this guy here, he's Evil Santana. He's like the evil Santa Claus, and he's an agent for chaos, and he is going to be let loose on the world. There will be a lot of issues in this issue, so please check this out. The world is quite interesting, how people basically have superpowers, and they gain this by channeling magic to do different feats and stuff like that. It's really cool. There's some espionage elements to this, political, not bad politics, but there's political drama sort of in it. Quite an interesting story. So if you get a chance, please support this. It's not doing nearly as good this second time, and I think that's because the first book ran kind of late. But I'm sure that Antonio learned his lesson. The book arrived great, and it is going to be fun, that's for sure. If you go check out just the first few pages of this, you'll be hooked, especially if you like horror. Okay, so we have Babylon Working, number 2. And all these, I just want to go ahead and say this again, all of these have the first and second issue. So you don't have to worry that you're seeing number 2s on any of this. Even the one I just showed you, you can pick up both issues. Okay, now Babylon Working is kind of like a group of female mercenaries, and it's a lot like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's wacky like that, and this book is kind of has some mature themes in it. They pull back on certain areas, but nudity is not one of them. So if you want to see a bunch of like babes going around in the galaxy, getting naked and fighting people and going on wacky adventures, this is what you want. I'm telling you, it's actually quite well written. I enjoyed the light-hearted sort of feel to this, and how it could go from light to like really kind of disturbing dark very quickly. But even at that breakneck speed, it works out very well. So if you like superheroes, sci-fi, kind of Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, you're going to want to check this out. We have More Lethal here. If you're a fan of something like Battle Angel Alita, this is going to want to be what you look at. These books are ridiculously cheap here. I think it's $5 for the book and $5 shipped. You can hardly find that kind of price anywhere. I have a campaign coming up. I wouldn't do it that cheap, just because 40 pages, $5, and then $5 shipped. You cannot beat that. Check out More Lethal. The cover art, I'm going to show you. This is the cover art right here. This is not great. I feel like the coloring for this cover is just off. And I feel if they got a better colorist for this, it would be fine. The inside is grayscale, though. And it looks awesome. It by Canales Art. I'm telling you, go check this out. Go check out some of the pages. And I think you'll like this. It's a very violent, sort of cyberpunky sort of series. So, yeah, go and take a look. And that is it. I will give a shout out to Jack Irons number 3. That is going to be in the description below. I didn't load up any images for that this time, but check out the weird space western with the immortal cowboy. It's a fun story. And I just wanted to say thank you all for stopping in. Anyone who did stop in, I appreciate you, and anyone who stops by after to watch this if you made it this far, because I don't think very many people make it all the way to the end here. But I do appreciate all of you. Sorry about the chaotic kind of schedule. And hopefully I will be back on track. I'm going to try to get more videos out and keep everyone a little more updated, keep my channel a little more lively. I've been getting a pretty good amount of subscribers, even though I've been slacking a little bit. But that's not what I want. I don't want to be known as the guy who puts out a video once every 2 weeks, at least once a week, okay? Every now and again, unfortunately, stuff comes up. You know, the world's in chaos right now. But I do appreciate you all. I hope you all stay safe in these troubling times, and you all have a great evening. Yes.